Muted again. Welcome to Collecting Chaos Live. I forgot to make my notes on to what I wanted to talk about. Welcome to Collecting Chaos Live. I forgot to make, and I also forgot to turn off the sound on my other computer where I do a playback and I can watch it live. One of those days, I've been sorting comics all day long. I am so sick of sorting comics. It's going on, let's see, Saturday will be 2 weeks of sorting comics, and the end is not in sight. I was thinking, week and a half, 2 weeks, but it looks like it's going to be 3, possibly 4 weeks before I'm completely finished. It's that many comics. So, yeah, it'll be fun. Well, on the upside, it's allowed me to bring out a lot of comics that I wouldn't have thought about before, because as I'm going through and I'm pulling out duplicates, I'm going through those duplicates. These are ones that I know are duplicates because I still have to compare all of the DC comics with the DC comics in the collection. But it's allowing me to pull out a lot of comics that are key issues. A lot of them aren't real expensive, $5, $10 key issues, kind of underrated, overlooked comics that are kind of neat to have. And, I sold a few on Thursday, or not Thursday, on Tuesday, and I'm going to offer a few of these tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow I'll also do an auction. Not going to tell which comic it is. Not going to tell which auction it's going to be. But one of the auctions I do tomorrow night, won't be charging anything with shipping. Doesn't matter if it goes to $5, $10. Doesn't matter if it hits $100. I've already designated which comic is going to be free. I will let the other members of the panel tomorrow night know which comic it is and show it to them, so they'll know when I bring it up. They'll know that, hey, at the end of the auction, somebody's just going to pay shipping for a great comic, for what I think is a great comic. So that's something I do every Friday night. One of my auctions will end up, whoever wins it, all we're going to do is pay shipping. Just one auction. If I do 50 auctions, 1 out of 50. If I do 3 auctions, 1 out of 3 will be. So that's something I'm going to enjoy doing, I think, and it ought to be some fun and make people look forward to watching that even more so than what they already are. And it encourages people to bid also, of course. But I think it's important. I think it's really important for me to let the other members know before the show goes live which one it is. That way, I don't even have to announce it. I do the auction, and then one of the others can turn around and say, hey, that's a free comic. And I go, hey, you're right. Person has to pay shipping. That's it. And the neat part about that is if they've already bought from me, shipping will be included already. So just wondering what Delco was doing, hollering at the door. I don't let him in here when I record anymore. I don't let him in my office at all anymore. He has a bad habit of doing things up to the floor that shouldn't be done by kitty cats or anybody else for that matter. Horizon Picks, good to see you. I'll pass on the word to Delco that you said hi. when I was recording the video that dropped this morning, the one where I decided not to do anything. Um, he made some noise. I told him, be quiet. And he was. So there's a lot of words that cat understands. Jackson Roy Kurt, good to see you. Glad you could stop in. I am going to do another. I am going to do my Saturday auction. That'll be uh, low, uh, not real expensive stuff. Things that'll start at under $10 generally. Auctions or claims or whatever. And then I don't know if next Tuesday I'll do it again or if it's going to be the Tuesday after. It depends on, can I come up with 70 different key issues from what I did this past Tuesday. I don't want to offer the same ones twice in a row. A lot of them are still up here. But I have filled it in with some other key issues. So I know where it stops at. Just kind of neat. And I do printouts to tell me what I want to charge for them. Some of these will be available tomorrow night. Some of them won't. I'll probably leave them up there, but still. Yeah, and that's 7:00 tomorrow night, right? Horizon Picks. I think that's what I put up in the. I put that as a pinned message at the top. So yeah, you go up there, click on that, and save it, and so you won't miss it tomorrow night. Figured that was the best way to advertise his auction tomorrow night is to pin it to the top. Yeah, that's not what it was. I don't mind him sleeping on top of a stack of comics as long as he doesn't hurt them. But it's when he decides, when he starts doing one of these numbers to something that's on the floor, and then the next thing you know, that thing that was on the floor is drenched. That's what pissed me off. That's why he's no longer allowed in here. I think 7 p.m. is a good time slot. Just like for my Tuesday, I think 4 p.m. was perfect time slot. So, and I'm probably going to do, I don't know if I'm going to do 7 or 8 for Saturday. I'll probably do 8. I'll probably start it at 8:00 on Saturday and go for an hour or two, whatever. Fortunately, Jackson Riker, it wasn't something that was real expensive, but that's not the point. I've had to switch over. Uh, Anything I put in a cardboard box has to be up high because, yeah, he'll shred a cardboard box in a heartbeat. I don't have an example in here of one, but I've got some that I've had to tape up and hope the structural integrity will hold until I can get some new ones. So, got a lot of new ones, but I need more. I want to go to all plastic, corrugated plastic boxes. I've got about 35 of them, but I need a lot more. I need 3 or 4 times that number. But those are really good. I like them a lot. Now he's Delco's newest thing is jumping up on the table that I do my pre-recorded videos on, and doing one of these numbers to the camera, playing with the camera. And I'll get up there and I'll look, and the camera will be whoop, instead of straight like it should be. And I haven't figured out how to keep them. I'm putting boxes on there to try to keep them off the table, but it doesn't always work. And last night he got up there, and I guess the white was reflecting off the white portion that comes out of the box of the document repair tape, because he was playing with that on the floor. It's not cool. So I need to get a small toolbox with drawers in it that I can keep all that stuff in, so you can't get a hold of it, can't play with it. I can get my supplies that I use for repairing toys and comics a little bit more organized than what they are now. Well, not just repairing, but also cleaning. Oh, those are the ones I got from Kayla. The Catwoman and the Batgirl diecast that Kayla showed. She showed them on the auction, and I prayed nobody would bid on them. Nobody did, and afterwards I went, "Hey, I want those. I'll send you the money." Hi, Pearl Nini. But like as always, if something's offered for auction, I let the people get their chance at it first, and then if it's still available, I'll go ahead and have them. Yeah, I did, but I did the right thing, and someone else could have bought them. They didn't. Made me a very happy camper that they didn't. So, of course, you're not going to be able to see it very well because of the reflection. And this one's a little messed up, but that's okay. I'm probably going to remove them from the case anyway. I have some boxes that I can put them in, display boxes that I can put them in. Actually, they might fit in there. They might fit in just like that. So, yeah, I love them. Like I said, Kayla showed those, and I just had to have them, so I bought them. Kind of like some other things I bought. But when I buy stuff, it's not always for me. I bought those two Harley Davidson dolls that Rosie showed, but they're not being sent to me. They're being sent to my daughter because she collects Barbies. So I'm pretty sure she doesn't have those. Well, I hope so anyway. but I got a few comics up there that are pretty good. The Punisher War Journal #1, Punisher 2099 #1, Punisher War Journal #6, where he's got Wolverine. That ended up being a pricey comic. I was surprised. Um, Planetary #1, Nightwing, Alfred's Return. That was a one shot, but it was also the first Nightwing solo comic. Let's see what else. I got a couple of Moon Knights up there, a couple of New Mutants, Power Man and Iron Fist. I still have Cull up there. And I still have the Black Panthers up there. Those are on the bottom shelf right behind me. Right there. So, there's some good stuff there. Yeah. Yeah, there's Iron Fist #1 up there. Had #2, but I believe John picked it up on Tuesday. Yeah, that's Mask #1. Masters of the Universe #1, Mask 1. A couple of Omega Men, not the good one, not #4 or #3. #3's first appearance of Lobo, but he wasn't called Lobo. He wasn't called Lobo until like issue #5. Every one of these is a key book. Every comic up here is a key according to the Key Collectors Act. A lot of the ones that I have back there that you can't see are also keys, but not according to the Key Collector Act. I've run across probably 300 or 400 comics that are key issues with, I mean, first appearance, first artist, or first published work of an artist, and stuff like that aren't in the Key Collector Act. A lot of independent stuff that should be key issues, not in the independent, not in the comic collector. John Byrne's Next Man, not in the Key Collector app at all. Yes, it will. I mean, I admire the guy. He's done a fabulous job, but there's a lot of stuff that he's just left out, or he hasn't gotten to yet. But I had to have something that I could use to pull comics that are easily found as key issues. But it's not what I normally use to determine if a comic is a key issue. What I use to see if a comic is a key issue or not, right there. And as you can see, I have several places that are marked. Let's see, such as, let's see what this says, or if it But this doesn't list all the independents either, and for that you have to go online. But there's a few websites that cover independent comics really well. Let's see if it's in here. Used to be. No, no, they don't list it anymore. They used to, but they don't list it anymore. They used to list the original run of X Mutants in here, but they don't anymore. Uh, X Mutants is a very important book. A lot of people don't realize it, but without X Mutants #1 and the first from the 80s and a lot of the other X Mutants from the 80s, you probably wouldn't get the amazing artwork that showed up in 60 or 70 issues of Silver Surfer, um, the last half of the Infinity Gauntlet, the Infinity Crusade, the Infinity War, um, because Ron Lim would probably still be unknown without X Mutants. X Mutants #1 from I think 1983, or maybe it was a little later than that. That was his first published work. I use the GCD for independence. A lot of times I'll look at the Marvel database, which is done by fans, and also the DC database. All three of those are good resources also. Uh, if I think about it, I'll grab the links and put them in the description, or I can just find them and post them right now. I can do that too. Let's see. Well, that didn't work. It keeps giving me the wrong thing. Gotta love Google when it does things wrong. There we go. And this is the one I use for independent comics. And then I use this one a lot for Marvel. And I use this one for DC Comics a lot. And that's my thing. I like to try to help people learn because, yeah, that's the way you get better. But yeah, those three websites. I'm my computer on this side. That's the only three things I have bookmarked. Nothing else. Nothing else on that browser is bookmarked. Just those three websites, and that's the one I used for research and stuff like that. So I had to actually look it up because this is the computer I'm doing monitoring on the for the for live stream, and of course the one in front of me is the one that I'm actually going on. That's true. I got some good sites on Barbie stuff too for Barbie information if anybody ever needs that. I have some toy sites that I use, uh, most notably yojo.com. Anything I want to know about GI Joes is on yojo.com. Yeah, the Marvel and DC ones are pretty easy. You can just type in the title and it'll bring up all the different variations of the title, or you can type in a specific issue. If you were to type in Detective 325, you could go straight to Detective number 325. It would show you a picture of the cover. It'll give arrows going to 324 and 326. It'll tell you who wrote it, who drew it, and a whole lot of other information, and even gives you a synopsis of the story. Yeah, both Marvel and both the Marvel and DC databases go into depth like that. The GCD database, or the Independent Comics database, that's the first one I showed. Comics.org, a little bit more difficult to get used to, but again, a wealth of information on just about everything independent. So it's worth having all three of those in your arsenal. Anytime I can help somebody learn something or find out where they can go to get more information, hey, that's a plus. That helps all of us, not just me. That helps us all. I also occasionally will go to the comic book realm. I'm a member of the comic book realm. I don't have my comics listed on there. I did at one time, some of them, but people were offering me $1 for a $70 comic. I took everything off sale. The things that I had listed for sale, I just took it all off because people were being idiots about it. I got a few posts on there that I made a long time ago. But it's good for getting, not really pricing, but it's good for like finding out how many comics are in a run and stuff like that. And they've got a pretty good database. In fact, I can share that one with you too. We'll be on another. And I've contributed to them. I've contributed some covers to them. Not many, but only about 100. So, but that's another site you can go to and kind of find some information out, but it's a little bit more difficult. And not everything they have is right. And you do. But again, the people that are doing these websites, they put a lot of work into them, and they should be, even if their information isn't absolutely 100% accurate, you got to give them props for trying, you know. And I'll occasionally drop some money over to Comic Book Realm, $10, $20, just to help the guy keep the site up. Yeah, absolutely. I remember I had inside the Encyclopedia Deadpoolica up on the Comic Book Realm, and I think I had it at like $65 or something like that. The guy offered me $20 and wanted me to pay the shipping. Yeah, I said no. And another guy said that he wanted. I had a Dave Stevens comic. It wasn't even listed for sale. He was offering me like $10 for it. Yeah, that's. There's no Dave Steven cover that I'm going to sell for $10. It's just not happening. 20, if it's kind of ragged, maybe. But my copies are all very fine denier mint or better, and I'm not selling them for low prices. I do have a couple of doubles on my Dave Stevens. I may offer them up for sale at some point. I don't know. And I found a few that I didn't even realize were Dave Stevens. Dave Stevens actually did artwork on some of the Johnny Quest's comics that were done by Comico. So that's cool. I discovered that the other day when I was looking for him. And I'm supposed to have a complete run of Johnny Quest, but apparently I'm missing a couple issues, which I find a little strange. Hopefully they'll turn up as I continue to go through everything I own. Because, you know, that initial pre-sort I did, yeah, it's not that accurate. I'll find an M with the S's, or I found a brigade in with Superman's. Uh, so, yeah. I discovered I have a lot of things that I didn't know I had. Yeah. Yeah, well, they also did a comic book of it, as well as Speed Racer and Racer X. I have some Racer X comics. I have a couple of Speed Racer comics. I have a whole stack of comics here I have to make a list of and send over uh, to BK because he wants Robotech. And yeah, I found a couple. And then I have exactly one um, Mortal Kombat comic and I need to get it hold tight and Nick and let him know which issue it is to see if he needs that. And if he doesn't need it, then of course I'll offer it for his general sale. But I kind of promised him he'd get first crack at that. So yeah, having fun. Well, I can find out. Uh, I don't know if Gold Key ever did Johnny Quest or not. I know they did them in the 80s. Yes, there was one Gold Key comic from 1964. If you find a near mint copy, you're looking at $900. Might have to get a copy of that. I'm not paying $900 for it though. But yeah, I take a fine copy if I can find it. Yeah, you know what? I bet you know more than you think because you've been hanging out and watching my shows, and yeah, you've probably learned a few without realizing it. Well, if I get one, I'll send you a picture. Okay. Yes. Paid I've paid hundreds for a comic before. I'll probably do it again. Matter of fact, pretty much every time I go to buy a Superman comic, it's over $100. I've gotten to that point. I never know what I'm going to find, and I don't know what I want to buy until I see it. That's that's another thing for me. I never know what I'm going to buy or until I see it. Let's see. Let's see if they have any on here. There it is. Johnny Quest #1, Gold Key Comics, 1964, $209.95. Buy it now. 4.5 slab for $6.50. There's a fridge magnet for $5. Oh, that looks nasty. The $209 one. Yeah, that's not worth $200. And then they have one for 212 that looks worse than $209 one. People just don't understand what they've got. What is this? There's another one. They went $259 for this one, and it's not much better than the other two. Actually, it looks like it's got so much cover wear that I wouldn't put any of those above good condition, and they're asking the fine price for them. So that just shows you that people don't always know what they're doing. Let's see what I come up with if I spell it correctly. Johnny Quest Comico Comics 1 through 31, full run $85 with 0 bids and 2 days left, or 175. Buy it now. Yeah, actually, I enjoyed the first 10 issues that I read, but then I'm missing number 11, so I didn't read past number 10. So, so yeah, it's a pretty good read. Uh, like I said, I don't know what I'm going to collect until I see it. And a lot of times I'll look at something and somebody will say, oh, yeah, this is a low grade copy because it's dirty. Well, dirt's not a big deal. Or they'll show me a comic and they'll say, yeah, I don't want to charge a lot for this because it's water damaged. And I'll look at it and the water damage has just got it wrinkled. And I'm thinking, get that out. It's not a big deal. As long as there aren't tide marks in it, it's not a big deal. It's the tide marks that are hard to get out, especially on the inner pages. It's hard enough to get them out of the cover, but getting them out of the inner pages is just, yeah, that's really rough. A lot of people say, well, use peroxide. That'll take it out. And yes, it will. Peroxide will definitely take out a tide mark. The problem is it screws up the paper. The paper's no longer slick, so I don't like using that. And you only want to use it on the white areas anyway. Yeah, if I didn't have almost all of the Johnny Quest, that Johnny Quest run from Comico, I would probably jump on that. I at least put in a bid and try to win it. I don't know that I would pay the 175. 30 comics for $175 is a little high, a little more than I'd be willing to pay per issue. Yeah, it's like $6 an issue. They're not worth that much. There's a few of them that are worth that in $15, $20 a piece, but in general, no. Back in the 90s, I used to buy Superman comics. And I'd buy all the new ones and back issues. And I would take a hit every single time, especially when I'd buy an older Superman and I pay like $4 or $5 for it, or $15 or $20 for it, whatever, because they weren't really that expensive. And people, why are you? They would always say this: why are you buying that crap? Why aren't you investing in X-Men? X-Men is where the money is. You're not going to make any money off Superman. Those X-Men comics that they were talking about, you can buy all day long for $2 to $5 a piece right now. The Superman comics that I was buying for $4, $5, $10, or $50 to $100 a piece. So there is no wrong thing. If you buy something you like, you bought the right thing. If you buy something that you don't like, well, that's kind of a waste of money, in my opinion. Now, I have a lot of X-Men comics. I have a lot of Punisher comics. I have a lot of Wolverine comics. I've never collected any of those titles. I haven't collected X-Men since 1969, 1970, something like that. But I have a crap load of them. And the only reason I haven't offered them all up for sale is because the time isn't right. I literally have 2.5 short boxes of the Punisher comics. Punisher War Journal, Punisher Warzone, Punisher 2099. I haven't paid much for them. I have no idea what I paid for them. I don't even know where they came from. I'd buy a collection, there'd be a crap load of Punisher, crap load of Wolverine, crap load of X-Men. They'd all just get filed away. I remember going around buying Tomb of Dracula at shows in the early 90s, and I was picking them out of quarter boxes. People would just, why are you buying that? I'd look at them and say, Gene Colan art. They'd go, oh, okay. But that's why I would buy it. Everybody would still say the same thing. Well, they're not going to be worth anything. Yeah, that's okay. 20, here it is, 30 years later, you can't hardly touch them. They ain't cheap. Matter of fact, I just sent no key issues, but I sent Kayla, Treasures Noire, a bunch of Tomb of Dracula comics because she's into vampires. And if I added up the value of those comics I sent her, they're over $100 worth easy. It's only, a stack like that. Yeah, they do. Why do you collect that? It's not worth anything. Maybe not to you. What was one of the other series I picked up? Oh, yeah. Frankenstein, our Monster Frankenstein, Werewolf by Night, Ghost Rider, the 1970s run of Ghost Rider. That used to be dirt cheap back in the 90s. Pick them up $3-4 a piece, if that. A lot of times you could get them for like 50 cents a comic. They're not that price anymore. Archie comics. Archie comics have been pooped on for years. I have always bought Archie comics. Aside from the fact that I enjoy reading them. Probably shouldn't admit that on a live stream. But it's true. I do enjoy reading them. But when I had my store, I'd get 50 to 100 Archies from somebody, and a week later I wouldn't have any. They have always sold really well, and a lot of times at premium prices, 2, 3, 4 times what the guide says they should sell for. I would get because people wanted them, and it just they've always been a good seller for me. Oh, I was talking about the Key Collector app earlier. Richie Rich, and I have some Richie Rich comics. Not a lot, maybe a small stack. But one of the ones I have, some of the ones I have is Richie Rich Millions, and I was looking at the Key Collector app, and it's like one of them that they say is worth something, and it's the one where he gets his robot butler or his robot caretaker, Irana or Irani, whatever her name was, and that one's listed as a key issue. But Richie Rich Millions #1, that's not a key issue, not important. What? If you look up Tarzan on the Key Collector app, Tarzan number 205 or 204, it might be 204. The first DC Comics Tarzan that Joe Kubert did is listed on the Key Collector app. The first Gold Key one isn't listed. The first appearance of Boy is not listed. The first appearance of Jungle Twins, which was also featured in Tarzan, is not listed. And of course, the first Dell #1 Tarzan is not listed. Actually, the Superman Wedding album is a really cool one, and it has a little value, not a huge amount. You can increase the value if you have the little flyer that comes with it. I will see if I still have a stack of them, and if I do, I'll send you one. Yeah, just put it in an envelope and mail it. 50 cents, I don't care. But I'll have to see if I can find them. I know I had some. Yeah, so if you like the comic, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be worth something to you. The comic's almost 30 years old. It's going to go up in value because it's Superman. That's all there is to it. It might take a while, but it will increase in value. Now, the current run of Superman will probably never increase in value. In fact, they'll probably nosedive to the bottom of the pits of hell before they go up in value. Right. 90s collectible cards. The superhero ones are okay, they're worth a little bit. The baseball, football, basketball, hockey cards, no. From the late 80s, early 90s, that's what we call junk wax because they produced so much of it. I mean, you can buy 90s comics all day long for $1, $2. The majority of them. And some of them were really, really good. Some of them were crap. I don't have my box. Yeah, I do. Let's see if I can find it in here. Really good, really good comic. If I can find it. This was a limited run. It was really good. It's not. It's barely worth cover price, um, which is a shame because. And one of the reasons why it's not worth a whole lot because it was black and white. Yeah, I remember that gum from the '60s. We used to trade the gum and chew the bubble and chew the cards because it was better for you. And then DC Comics did a version of Robin Hood called Outlaws, and they did that in the '90s. And that's another one. I think it was 8 issues, and that was really good too. Again, that's one of those titles where people said, "Why are you buying that? It's not worth anything." The Batman cards from the '60s. It took me forever in the '60s to put a set of those together. I did the wrong thing one time, and my dad decided I needed to be punished. And my punishment was he took my Batman cards and threw them in the trash. Do you know how much a set of Batman cards sells for today? I love my dad. Even after that, I still love my dad. Right. But yeah, it's like I said, it's what's the worst part about that is how many of them loosened the spokes on your bike. It made it actually dangerous to ride. I think what we need to take away from this particular uh, live stream is collect what you want, collect what you like. Don't let anybody tell you what to collect, because if you collect something based on what someone else tells you is good, it's going to be meaningless and will have no value to you. You collect what you like, it'll be, even if it never goes up in monetary value, it'll still be valuable to you. Don't collect for money. That's a mistake. Don't collect for money. Unless you can sit on it for 20 to 30 years, don't collect for money or longer. And there's been comics that have surprised me. Ones that I didn't think were going to go up in value, but did. And that's okay. Okay, well, that's my hour. That's my rants. Um, I'll see you tomorrow night on Horizon Picks Auction. Don't forget, I got a link. It's pinned at the top of the chat. Make sure before you hand me your comics or your toys or whatever you happen to be into that you wash your hands. It's good for your collectibles, and more importantly, it's good for your health. And everybody, just have a wonderful night and a wonderful day tomorrow too, okay? And we will see you tomorrow on Horizon Picks Auction. Bye.